Our journey begins with the Peloponnesian War, a fierce struggle between ancient Greek city-states, Athens and Sparta. This was no ordinary squabble between neighbors. Oh no, this was a 27-year-long grudge match, echoing across the Aegean Sea from the walls of Athens to the rugged landscapes of Laconia. The Athenians, renowned for their love of arts, philosophy and democracy, locked horns with the militaristic Spartans, a society built on discipline, obedience and war. It was a clash of ideologies, a battle of attrition that bled Greece white. The war's aftershocks were felt far beyond the Greek city-states. It weakened Greece, paving the way for the rise of a new power, Macedon, under a man whose name would echo through the ages, Alexander the Great. The Peloponnesian War, in its death and destruction, shaped the course of Western civilization. This conflict weakened Greece and paved the way for the rise of Macedon under Alexander the Great, shaping the course of Western civilization. Next, we turn to the Crusades, a series of religious wars that engulfed Europe and the Middle East. Beginning in the late 11th century, these conflicts were a response to Islamic expansion and an attempt to reclaim holy lands, particularly Jerusalem. The Crusades were not just about warfare, however. They also brought about a great cultural exchange. Europeans encountered new ideas, technologies, and goods from the Middle East, including advances in medicine, mathematics, and astronomy. This exchange of knowledge spurred the Renaissance and shaped the course of Western civilization. But the Crusades also left a scar. The religious tensions they sparked continue to reverberate today, more than 7 centuries later. The wars entrenched a deep-seated mistrust between Christianity and Islam, a divide that persists to this day. These clashes between Christians and Muslims had far-reaching consequences, including cultural exchange, technological advancements, and lasting religious tensions. Moving forward, we encounter the 100 Years' War, a protracted conflict between England and France over territorial disputes. This war was not a constant battle for 100 years, but rather a series of conflicts and tensions that spanned from 1337 to 1453. The heart of the matter was the question of rightful succession to the French throne, a dispute that would shape the destiny of 2 nations for centuries to come. As the war raged on, it kindled the flames of nationalism. Both the English and French people began to view themselves as distinct nations unified against a common enemy. Meanwhile, the feudal system, which had been the backbone of medieval society, started to crumble. Kings started to centralize power and diminish the influence of the nobility. But perhaps one of the most significant outcomes of the 100 Years' War was the evolution of warfare. Longbowmen and infantry replaced knights as the mainstay of armies, changing the face of battlefields forever. This war saw the rise of nationalism, the decline of feudalism, and the emergence of new military tactics, shaping the future of European politics and warfare. Our next stop is the 30 Years' War, a devastating conflict that ravaged Central Europe. This war, which spanned from 1618 to 1648, was a maelstrom of religious, political, and territorial disputes. It was a period of upheaval and profound transformation. The war ignited a profound reshaping of the map of Europe. The Peace of Westphalia, a series of peace treaties that ended the war, redrew borders and established new territories, altering the political landscape of Europe in a way that still echoes today. The 30 Years' War also laid the groundwork for modern diplomacy. The negotiations leading to the Peace of Westphalia set a precedent for peaceful conflict resolution between nations, a principle that underpins our modern international system. Lastly, this war fueled the rise of nation-states. The shifting alliances and territorial gains of the war helped to solidify the concept of sovereign states, reshaping the nature of global politics. Fought over religious, political, and territorial issues, this war reshaped the map of Europe, laid the groundwork for modern diplomacy, and fueled the rise of nation-states. Now we plunge into the Napoleonic Wars, a series of conflicts led by the ambitious French leader Napoleon Bonaparte. At the turn of the 19th century, Napoleon's thirst for power ignited more than a decade of intense battles across Europe. These wars were not merely about territorial conquest. They were a crucible for revolutionary ideals, igniting sparks of nationalism and democratic principles wherever they touched. Napoleon's code, A comprehensive system of laws introduced unprecedented legal reforms influencing many national legal systems worldwide. The wars also disrupted the old order of European power, prompting the reshuffling of borders and the rise of new political structures. The Congress of Vienna, convened in the aftermath of these wars, sought to restore balance, but the ripples of change were unstoppable. These wars redrew the boundaries of Europe, spread revolutionary ideals, and set the stage for the modern era of nation-building and global warfare. The Napoleonic Wars, thus, were a turning point, a transformational epoch in the annals of history. Our penultimate war is World War I, a cataclysmic conflict that engulfed the world in unprecedented violence. Lasting from 1914 to 1918, it was a war like none other before it. A war that would forever change the face of our planet. The once mighty empires of Europe crumbled under the strain of this brutal conflict. The Russian, German, Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires all fell, their ruins giving birth to new nations, birthing a new world order. The war also saw the introduction of devastating new weapons of mass destruction. Tanks, submarines and chemical weapons turned the battlefield into a hellscape, while aircraft took warfare to the skies for the first time. But perhaps most importantly, World War I sowed the seeds of future conflict. The harsh peace terms imposed on Germany and the geopolitical tensions left unresolved set the stage for another world war just 2 decades later. This war shattered empires, introduced new weapons of mass destruction, and set the stage for the geopolitical tensions that would lead to World War II. Finally, we arrive at World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history. A war of such scale and devastation, it left an indelible mark on the entire globe. It was not merely a conflict between nations, but a battle for ideologies, a struggle between fascism and democracy that changed the world's political landscape forever. In the wake of the war, the global balance of power shifted dramatically. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as superpowers, wielding unprecedented influence over the post-war world. Europe, once the epicenter of global power, lay in ruins, its influence diminished. But from the ashes of the war rose hope. The United Nations was born, an international organization with a mandate to maintain peace and prevent future conflicts. Numerous other international bodies also sprang up, each with a mission to foster cooperation and harmony among nations. This war reshaped the global balance of power, led to the rise of superpowers, and birthed the United Nations and other international organizations aimed at preventing future conflicts.